So the slime girl Sue gets introduced in this week's episode of Monster Girl. So, how many of you are calling her best girl? Let me know in the comments below. Are you still saying that Mia is best girl, Cindoria best girl, Poppy best girl, or is it now the slime girl Sue that's best girl? Let me know in the comments below, because I know a lot of you have, different types of themes and I guess best girls you like. I'm curious, like, who is winning right now? Like, which girl do you think is the best girl out of this series so far that we have seen? Because next week we're gonna have another introduction to another monster girl if you saw the preview scene, which is quite obvious. But if you watch the opening song as well, it kind of spoils who's coming. But I'm not gonna get into that, because if you haven't watched the opening song or you haven't seen the preview, I'm not gonna talk about that because I don't want to spoil you Chibits. So, for now, let's talk about this episode of Monster Girl. So, Sue as a character, for the most part, she seems like a scatterbrain. Like, not as... well, I guess you could say she lacks common sense. Not really scattered brain, she needs to learn. She's like a child that's processing and taking in all this information and needs to learn what to do. For instance, Poppy was kind of like her older sister throughout this episode, and if we think about it in a certain sense, Poppy's probably not the best role model for someone that's trying to learn common sense, because going back to episode 2, Poppy does have a little bit of issues if you think about it. I mean, Poppy is a scatterbrain. I mean, she doesn't really understand everything, and I mean, the game situation with her mentality and all that, I mean, of course, she's probably not the best role model for Sue, so obviously there's going to be some things probably happening that might not be appropriate for Sue to be able to do. But, I have to say though, when it comes to the way Sue's introduction was done in this episode, I personally enjoyed this episode a lot more than the manga. Like, yeah, hands down, I enjoyed this scene, this episode that was focused on Sue way more than the manga, because animation, art, music, but I mean, I just really liked the way everything was done. I mean, to the way the camera angles were done, to the music, to the voice acting, it all looked nice, and especially the opie size, you can't deny that. Like, what the fuck, that bath scene, like, what the fuck, man, like, it's not as bad as Shimonetta, it's nowhere near that, the bread and tissue box scene, but I mean, still, it was pretty like, whoa, what the fuck is with this anime season and being raunchy? I mean, you got Prison School, Monster Girl, Two Love Room, and you got this, I mean, just, you got Shimonetta, just, there's so much raunchy series from this season, and it's crazy. I mean, seriously, last season didn't have this type of shit, I mean, this season, you're like, what the hell, bro? Like, seriously, all the perverted anime comes out in summer. So, I mean, episode, it kind of does the exact same format that episode 1, episode 2, and kind of episode 3 did with this week's episode. It kind of does the exact same format, and it's a little bit different, but it's pretty much the exact same to the introductions of, like, Poppy, to Cindoria, and then Mia, and it's kind of like that. It's very similar, so there's nothing much really different, so to say, about this episode, besides it being, slime girl themed with some RPG element type references. And that's kind of what the episode was about. And I mean, if you like this type of character, I mean, everybody's gonna have their own thing they like. For instance, when it comes to the girls of this series, I mean, like I've already pointed out, Mia, she's like the woman that has like everything. She has the curves. I mean, you have it to where Poppy, she's the ass girl. I mean, you got Cindoria, I guess you could call her the leg and opie, tumor opie girl. I mean, you could call Slime Girl the one that can change her size constantly into different forms. So, I mean, everybody has their own specific preferences, I guess you can call best girl in this series, depending on what you like, and I guess that's a good thing when it comes to Monster Girl. So yeah, I mean, episode overall, very simplistic as always when it comes to this series, so there's not really much more to just go into and dive headfirst into and start talking about, but it was still enjoyable nonetheless. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.